Hey, what's going on, everybody? Listen, have you hit that subscribe button yet? It's real easy. All you gotta do is use the mouse, hover over it, click subscribe, okay? Then hit click like and then share. You can hit the notification bell so that way you can get any updates on when I drop any new videos. Listen, the two most important numbers that you have to know in terms of investing is number one, you have to know what your fees are. There's no greater robber of wealth to the individual investor, besides making poor investment decisions, than compounding fees. Whether you do your own investments or whether you have somebody managing them for you, you have to know what fees you are paying every single time. And I'm not just talking about your what somebody's charging you for managing. I'm talking about every fee for whatever decision you make. If somebody says, hey, we need to come in and we need to rebalance your portfolio, or we need to move from here to here, you need to have them write down a list of what fees you pay. What fee do I pay for selling this fund or selling this particular investment? And what fee do I have to pay for changing over to this investment? What are my transaction costs? What are the commissions involved? So you have to know what your fees are. Okay, me as a person who only own individual businesses, I don't pay any fees. I don't make a bunch of transactions anyway. But there are no fees for owning a great business if you have a brokerage account like the Charles Schwab, the Vanguard, the Fidelity. You know, these are the ones that I typically recommend for people. I've been with Charles Schwab for since 2009. But so that's number one. You have to know your fees. And the only people who are going to say fees don't matter are the ones who are charging you fees or the ones who are indirectly getting paid off of your fees by some way of, either having people to promote on their website or whatever. So fees matter. Fees matter a whole heck of a lot. The second number that you need to know is your compound annual growth rate. I'm not talking about what your stock, people spend too much time focusing on 1 year returns. Oh, what has your portfolio done year to date? What has it done in the last 3 months or 6 months? Or what does it do this year? Oh, we need to change it so we can have a better performance next year. Focusing on 1 year performance and trying to change and trying to chase 1 year performance is not a good recipe for long-term success in terms of investing. What you need to know is what is your compound annual growth rate over a period of years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, etc. That way you can determine exactly how much your money is going to grow into. And it all comes down to understanding the rule of 72. You've heard it said before, but I'm going to give you an example. The rule of 72 tells you how long it takes for your money to double. Remember, compounding is about doubling. How long does it take for your money to double? You take 72 and you divide it by your growth rate, and it tells you how long it takes for your money to double. I'll give you a personal example. Number one, if you look at here at my rate of return, this is roughly about 9 years now. You can see your portfolio has a cumulative rate of return of 628.06% from December 31st, 2016 to December 18th, 2025. So that's roughly about 9 years. Annualized, that's 24.78%. If you scroll down to the bottom, you see financial freedom. That's what I call my brokerage account. And my Roth, collectively 628.06%. The aggressive benchmark, which is 173.39%. And the S&P 500 index is 251.95%. Again, that's one of the reasons why I don't index now, but I look for buying great businesses because I know the great businesses have a tendency to perform better over the long period if you take your time and you buy into really, really good businesses. Now, it's all about compounding. Now, I'm going to put this chart here up showing the difference between an 8% rate of return and a 24% rate of return as listed from that particular standpoint. This is over, let's say, a 9-year period or over a certain period of time. Remember, compounding is about doubling. how does your money double over a period of time? The reason why I'm using 8% versus the 24% rate of return is because almost every professional that I've ever met with says, when I always ask what you have to know this. I always ask, what type of rate of return can I expect if I were to work with you? The standard answer is going to be 8%. Some people might say 7%, some going to 8, some going to say 9, and then they say, "Oh no, you have to take it's too risky if you try to do anything else, so you try and expect to get any other, rate of return or whatnot." So, the 8% rate of return and versus the 24% rate of return. So let's look at this. We'll use a round number as an example. Let's say I had $100,000 starting out 9 years ago. Okay, so $100,000 at 8% rate of return. You take the rule of 72. 72 divided by 8 is 9. That means that the money would double every 9 years. So 100,000 will double to 200,000 by year 9. 200,000 will double to 400,000 by year 18. And 400,000 will double to 800,000 by year 27. If you take the 24% and that I've averaged over roughly the last 9 years, and these are all approximate numbers of what it would grow into. 24, you take 72 and you divide it by 24, and you get 3. That means that the money would double. That same $100,000 would double every 3 years. So 100,000 would double to 200,000 by year 3. 200,000 would double to 400,000 by year 6, and then 400,000 would double to 800,000 by year 9. Now, if you look at this aspect of it, the humongous, tremendous difference between 8% and 24% should be obvious. So I am 51 years old as of right now. That means that same 100,000 to grow into 800,000 would have taken 18 more years at 8% rate of return if I had given my money to a professional who averages 8%. Over 18 more years, that means that it would take me into 69 years old to have the same amount that money would have grown to into in the last 9 years. So now, from there, I look at the aspect of it. Now that's just 100,000. Remember, there are 3 components. I always say the 3 components is the time, the dollars invested, and your compound annual growth rate. So the one thing here that's stable with both of these is the number of dollars that's invested. The compound annual growth rate has a direct influence on the time that it takes to achieve whatever the goal is. The higher the compound annual growth rate, the less time you have. So when you're younger, even if you have a lower compound annual growth rate, if you stretch it out 10 to 20, 30 years, of course you have the ability to your money can grow into substantial sums. The longer you have, and the higher the compound annual growth rate. You also have to understand too, is that the larger the money gets, the faster it compounds. So the more money you tend to have. So when it gets up to, let's say, $1 million, then that $1 million at that same 24%, $1 million would have doubled to $2 million by year 3 at 24%. And then from 2 million to 4 million by year 6. And then from 4 million to 8 million by year 9. And then it gets bigger and bigger. That's why the wealthy keep getting wealthy, and because they're invested in stocks. You have to invest, and you have to buy into good businesses, and you have to buy good assets that are going to compound. So with investing in good businesses, the money compounds. Now, there have been ups and downs throughout this whole time frame, with how the market has performed. But I don't care, because I don't sell out of my great businesses. If these businesses have given me these results over the last 9 years, why on earth would I be looking around trying to sell these to try and jump into some new stock? Oh, I need to sell this one, so I need to get a hot new stock because this stock is going to. No, if you can find really good businesses, you can own these businesses. So compounding is your key. You have to know what your fees are, and you have to know what rate your money is compounded. If you don't know any of these things, then you can't predict how much money you're going to have. You can look at your account. Now, when I first started, my goal was in 2016, when I switched over to individual stocks, I had a goal to average 15% rate of return. Because I know that 15% rate of return means my money would double every 5 years. That meant that it would double 4 times in a 20-year period. So I can look at it and I can look at my starting amount. I have XYZ dollars. And I said if I can compound at 15%, even if I never added another dollar, I can predict how much money I'm going to have in 20 years. Now, as you add more money to it, you're changing the dollars invested, which also is going to increase the amount of money you end up with at the same time. That's why you consistently invest all the time. Now, one time, if you've seen any of my videos, not one time yet have you heard me say, buy the dip, buy the dip. You never know when a stock is going to go down, when it's going to stop, when it's going to go back up. Now, there are certain times when in certain stocks or certain times in the market where there are tremendous buying opportunities, but I am a consistent investor. Every single month, invest every single month. Don't sit around and wait for the market. Just be consistent, and that's with anything. The more consistent you are, the greater the results you're going to get if you invested into great businesses. All right, so make sure you know those two numbers, the two most important numbers. What fees are you paying? Not just the expense ratio of the fund you have, but also the fees governing how much they're charging to manage your portfolio, how much fees you're paying, transaction costs, commissions for every single time you rebalance or move from one fund to the next, which I think is a whole bunch of unnecessary actions and hurts performance. And then also make sure you know what your compound annual growth rate is. Learn the rule of 72. Learn how to look at and determine what your compound annual growth rate is, and you can predict how much wealth you're going to have 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. And you're looking forward to, leaving a legacy for the next generation. It's about generational wealth. All right, have a great day. Talk to you soon.